Caspians, what's good? It's been a while. It's been a minute. Man, I've been sick as heck for weeks. Now I'm finally feeling a little better. So on the recovery. So Kaspa's having that recovery. I'm having that recovery a little bit. So this is looking crazy. This is wild. I want to break this down for you guys. Not just Kaspa, but across the entire market, including gold, Bitcoin, the others, altcoins, and everything with respect to gold as well. Because that type of stuff, it's really eye-opening. Okay, right now, we're having now actual confirmation of a breakout, macro breakout upward for Kaspa. You know, I've said before that we're beginning to see consolidation at that bottom, that green zone. Very good to see. We see because we matched it up by the consolidation phases before, and it's past in its history. Now we're seeing that that breakout upward. Okay, so we're breaking that downtrend, the macro downtrend. Okay, that's on the monthly. Extremely good to see. Bouncing up, crazy hard floor at 3 cents. I mean, I just kept on posting on X while I was sick. Yo, 3 cents, 3 cents, 3 cents, 3 cents. I would have been going ham on videos, honestly, if I could. But I lost my voice, literally. My throat's been killing me. But here we go. Weekly's looking good. You may think, oh, am I late? Did I miss out? What should I do? Should I wait for a little dip? No, I don't believe so whatsoever. Right now, you have to buy. If you haven't bought yet, if you're waiting to buy, this is the breakout, okay? Once the breakout happens, you can't be picky anymore, okay? Kaspa had a chance to drop down. It didn't. It decided to pump upward and break upward. Not just break upward, but it's breaking that macro downtrend, okay? So that macro downtrend is also seen. Let's check out others here. The macro downtrend here we go as well. This I've noted before. So this downtrend has been broken for several, at least like maybe a month or two. And now it's continuing to confirm the breakout, not just on the horizontal, but now it's beginning as well to confirm on the vertical. Okay, so here we go, the higher lows. There's still a lot of room to go. Okay, massive room to grow. And you see as well as the MACD, an excellent macro indicator. Take a look, okay? When it peaked, formed that formed that hill at the top. Look at that. Look what happened with the others with respect to Bitcoin. This is like altcoins. Altcoin season basically was fading, and it peaked, and there we go. And here we are. We're valuing, absolutely valuing on the macro time frame with respect to Bitcoin. Okay, not just this, but we had to pair. It all pairs together. That's the beautiful thing about it. Okay, so here, take a look at gold. This is something I mentioned before that I kind of expected to see it fluctuate between these 2 points. It went up. It retested this high. This is Iran, Israel, US start bombing Iran. So gold went up, and that was basically off the news. And now it's been fluctuating around here, fluctuating at 5,000. I think it's very fair price, 5,000. May have to fluctuate down here as well. In either case, gold is going to be fluctuating a lot throughout the next year and years, most likely. Okay, because the price estimate for gold for these big companies, these big banks and all that, they have a price estimate around 5,000, 5,400. So if that price estimate is already hit, that numerous times, what's going to happen now? There's going to be a ton of fluctuation, and that money is going to shift. Where is it going to shift? It's going to shift to where it hasn't gone yet. Okay, and another shift that's happening. Okay, first let me show gold, Bitcoin with respect to gold. Okay, this is something I showed also previous videos, and this is just confirming. Okay, and when I mentioned before that I'm not worried at this price action's been hideous, my last price analysis video, when I said I wasn't worried, I mean, you look at this type of stuff, you look at these deep averages, and you can't worry. You already know this is an excellent opportunity. You can't be getting a better opportunity, and there we go. Boom, a little bounce from this macro floor. And you think if you're late, you're like, oh, I'm going to wait for a little dip or something. Nah, fam. Okay, now money is shifting, and you do not want to get late to this party, because once it shifts, you don't know if it's going to be a double, if it's going to be double retest, a double macro retest on this floor, or if it's going to pump up like crazy. And you saw gold. You saw what happened. It just kept on pumping and pumping and pumping. There wasn't not even like a breather for that type of movement. So you don't want to be caught on the sidelines. Absolutely not. Okay, so as we see here, this is the past 2 days. It's been up a lot. Okay, but look in the past what has happened. These candles in the past, much higher. The price was the much larger candles and the price was already much higher. So these candles are going to be much, much bigger now that the price is much less. Okay, so I mean, just look at here. Every single time, here, I have something interesting to show. All right, so here we are. It's basically bottomed out. Okay, bottomed out and moving upward. When's the last time it bottomed out and moved upward? Okay, last time was right here. And we saw a massive pump. What happened? It went from 5 cents to 13 cents. Okay, more than double the price in a very fast time frame. In about like 2 months. About 2 months. Okay. When's the next time it was bottomed out and it moved upward? Right here, I mean, you could consider that a little bit. 10 cents to, we already know the peak, 20 cents, a double. And that took about 2 months. Okay. Now another time it was bottomed and moved upward. This is more so fluctuations, but like you see from the bottom to the top, almost a double. Okay. So when we see this type of movement, we already know where we have absolutely the potential to double in the next 2 months. I mean, that's an extremely conservative and very reasonable estimate, prediction. The movement we've already gone, I mean, we've barely even moved. Okay. Yeah, we're up like, here we are, 20% up on the month. But to double, we need to get 100%. So we have a lot of movement to go. And so to reach 6 cents, something like that, it's more than reasonable in the next 2 months. But I think we could absolutely reach back up to 10 cents. Depends on the rest of the market as well. But as we see here, Kaspa is leading here. Let's take a look at CMC. But before I go into CMC real quick, one more point about the stock market. This is referring to shifts in money. Okay, so we're seeing a shift in money from gold coming to Bitcoin. Now, not just going to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's lagging. Bitcoin in the top cryptos, they're not performing nearly as good as these altcoins, as these risk-on assets. Beautiful, okay? Because you look at it, this doesn't become a risk-on asset when at these prices. And you see Bitcoin and at such, okay, but that's with respect to gold. But where's just a normal Bitcoin chart? Can't really find it here. Here's a normal Ethereum chart. Anyways, so you already know Casper is just, it doesn't become a risk-on asset when it's so oversold compared to other assets like the top assets. These are the big funds. Okay, the big fund, the big money, it moves from the big money to the smaller money. So the S&P 500, a lot of this money is going to be shifting to the risk-on assets, and that's why you're seeing a little bit of a peak happening. Same with gold; it's a little bit of a peak formation, and similar with Bitcoin dominance. It's starting to form a little bit of a peak formation, or in this case, like it's a valley because it's the ratio of everything excluding Bitcoin and all that. So this is basically the altcoin. So again, this is the liquidity shift, and you do not want to be on the sidelines. Absolutely not. This is just confirmation. So what's going to happen in the next few days? Who knows? Okay, it can very well fluctuate, but at the same time, it could very well pump. And like you see here, it could stay stagnant for, say, a week, something like that, and then a massive pump, a massive breakout. It could stay stagnant for a week, come back down to retest the bottoms. But at these lows, there is a lot more risk on having money off the table. It's like a lot more risk not having a bag. Okay, from over here, the price was double. For that price to be this low and this discounted, you do like for there to be another retest, for people to be selling heavy, for it to come back down to 3 cents, it's much less likely than it ever was before. So all this like comparisons that you have at higher price ranges, it's just not comparable. And even here, you see what's happening is a retest. There's a bullish retest. It's a bullish keep on hitting this 5 cent range. So here, are we going to be seeing a bearish retest? Unlikely. And that's in my opinion that, markets are extreme discount point. There's been a lot of fear, and that fear is now going to be rolling into place to take advantage of what's moving, what's going forward, especially in terms of technology. We already know Kaspa is superior in technology, so It's just a matter of like the bulls coming back. And you look at, it's so funny. I look at like my comments on X, I look at my comments on YouTube, and and you see the comments. It's literally the bears are gone. I don't see them. I mean, they're quiet, of course. I mean, if anything, if the bears were here, they probably got liquidated if they having bearish leverage positions. But the bulls, oh, they're back. They're back, and they're back heavy. So everyone's basically coming back in. And if they're not in yet, they're trying to buy their bag, especially maybe even waiting for a little bit of a dip that very much may not come. So this is not a time to be picky. And we see here, like, again, massive macro bullish signals pointing upward. This is a bottoming formation. And look at this trend. I mean, it's excellent. It's honestly excellent. And here's another chart. Okay. Look at what's happened. And you think that, oh, have I missed out? Should I wait for a little dip to double my bag or to buy some more? Man, look at this. We've hardly gone anywhere. And this is others with respect to gold. And yeah, there's a long ways to go. Okay. So I'm not trying to say like, yeah, it's absolutely confirmed that it's a macro bullish breakout. Oh, heck. There's a lot of signs pointing toward it. Okay. Here's another one. It's looking at Render. It trades like, a typical altcoin. Okay, nothing too crazy about it. And when I saw this pump happen in the past, and for it to fall back down, I found that extremely bullish, and especially for it to recreate that floor, because that means that the people and the investors in here, the money makers, the market makers, they're creating a bullish formation. Basically, okay, they pump it up, they start getting that macro trend to flatten out. Maybe we could see it here if we go to the weekly. Yeah, you can see a little bit. The macro trend is starting to flatten out. Okay, so it comes back down because it needs time to flatten out. It can't just like pump upward. It's not smart for the market maker. And then it comes back down, and then it pumps back up again. So what's happening here, and you see it very well on the daily, is that it's testing this moving averages, and it's coming back down. So we may have to come back down again. It's a possibility, okay? But what we're seeing here is this line is going to be starting to flatten out and holding this support, this floor level of support. What's going to happen? It's a typical valley formation like you see here, okay? So it hits this resistance, and it comes back down, and then it's going to continue to hit until it breaks through, and that's the massive breakout. That's what you do not want to miss, and you don't know where. It's always going to be like lurking of when that can happen. So we absolutely may still need time. Okay, so these lines are not exactly flat just yet. So this line right here, I mean, but you look at things with this is Render, of course. So you look at Kaspa, and it's a little bit different story. It's much more. The technology is a lot different. The narrative's a lot different. The technology releases are coming this year. So everything's, making Kaspa honestly in a position to take the lead. So let's go to CMC real quick. And I want to just take a peek at what we have here. Oh, here. Past 24 hours in percent gains. There we go. Kaspa is number 3. Number 3. And even looking at the 7-day gains, it's doing superb, especially in relation to these top gainers. You have to understand how bullish this is. When the markets turn green from a state of being extremely bearish, and then when they finally turn green, that's smart money, big money is running. They're sprinting to accumulate as much Kaspa as they possibly can from those lows. So what happens? It becomes one of the top 5 gainers. It's always in the top 5 gainers from these bottoms consistently, very consistent. Why, you may ask? Well, it's pretty heckin' clear if you do your research and you understand the technology behind Kaspa, and that's going to power the inevitable adoption. That's in the past 24 hours, past 7 days. It's in the top 10. Past 7 days, it's been performing in the top 10. Top 10 of the top 100 cryptos of the most ranked by the market cap. So that's quite the feat. Okay, that's quite incredible, because before we were seeing, I was seeing that Kaspa was performing on average in the top 100. Like literally, it would be in the top 50 over here. It'd be performing similar to Bitcoin. But now here you see Bitcoin performing in the top 50. Now Kaspa in the top 10. All right, interesting as well to see Tau. I see a lot of their community is some Kaspa community members really like Tau. Personally, and as I see as well with other Kaspa community members, as well with me, I do not like Tau. Okay, I don't like it. All right, it's a great concept. It's a great concept. Okay, but it is not optimized. It is not optimized at all. Quite literally, like if you want this thing to succeed, you get it on Kaspa. Okay, and what is that? Because Tau is not an optimized layer 1 yet. It is its own layer 1. So if it's not an optimized layer 1, like it's not built to succeed long term. It's just a proof of concept. Yet it's worth $3 billion, and there's a lot of hype around it. That's all it is. It's just like a lot of hype and people like liking the proof of concept and trying to make it work. But I'm looking long term. I'm looking at the best. I'm looking at the technology that can encompass everything, because when you look and invest in the best technology, in the best network itself, the best layer 1, it's like, it's not just the best, but it can't just be the best. It has to be the best by at least 10x magnitude, orders of magnitude. Just 6,000 times faster than and more scalable than Bitcoin. And compared to even Zcash, Zcash is a privacy solution, but it's extremely slow and inefficient. Kaspa, you get privacy in Kaspa, whether through vprogs or even as a L2. Essentially, Zcash can get on Kaspa, and this is something that even Jonathan Sampolinsky was teasing with the Zcash founder or someone like that, even talking about like should it be called zkEVM, like privacy cas. But you could absolutely get privacy on Kaspa. And that would make sense because it is the most optimized network by large magnitudes, like massive magnitudes, more efficient, more scalable, more decentralized, and more secure. Well, Zcash is pretty secure. Okay, Bitcoin's pretty secure. So the security is not a massive difference, but the security is still an upgrade with Kaspa with respect to these other proof of works, because Kaspa doesn't need to wait as long confirmation times to guarantee the same level of security. So you can now offer less confirmation times to have the same security. You want even greater security within, if an attacker has less than 50% of the hash rate, you're going to be able to offer higher security with longer confirmation times. Even if you had the same confirmation times, boom, you have greater security on Kaspa. Okay, this is things I mention a lot, basically, and I'm not just talking out of my mouth, talking out of nothing. No, this is these are facts that Jonathan Sampolinsky has written in papers. Okay, even in his early work, all his research and work is on Bitcoin and has been on Bitcoin. It's all centered around Bitcoin. Jonathan Sampolinsky is in the top 3 to top 10. It differs because there's whether you want to relate other like researchers that involve Bitcoin in a pure lens of like money markets and market makers, and just like looking at it in a lens of Bitcoin as like an asset and how it moves in terms of price. But when you look at it, the top researchers of Bitcoin and crypto, and looking at it just in light of like its actual fundamental research with price aside, not even referring to the price, you see Jonathan Sampolinsky is in the top 3 most cited, not just crypto researchers, but Bitcoin researchers in the top 3. And that's just unbelievable. I've got to do another video to showcase that. I did a video on it already before. I made a lot of tweets about it. But it's something people don't really understand. And now you have Jonathan Sampolinsky. He's talking in front of Oxford Union. I haven't seen that video up on YouTube just yet, but that's recorded and it'll be uploaded and shared. I mean, this guy it's just wild. So what was I saying? I'm getting off track. But basically what I'm saying is that Tau should get on Kaspa, get on the most optimized network, the most optimized layer 1, and then you're going to be built for long term, and then Tau can be extremely successful. But when you even looking at it in that type of like perspective, where Tau can only truly succeed and be able to scale for global adoption long term if it's on Kaspa, what does that do to the price? Which asset you think is going to be more valuable? A certain application on a layer 1 or the layer 1 itself? Well, you'll see the layer 1 itself is going to hold much more value. I mean, that's why you see like Ethereum, where number 2 largest asset, and you don't see its applications on Ethereum higher in value. It just doesn't make any sense. And that's just how the structure works. You have the gas fees and everything feeding Ethereum, but even Ethereum is extremely fragmented, so its DeFi environment doesn't even support it that much. But anyways, this is interesting. Looking at Kaspa logarithmic chart, and this is a nice bounce. It's honestly beautiful. It would be quite incredible to see this as the bottom. We're here just under 1 billion market cap, and the 1 billion market cap, it's a great place to look at. It's a great milestone because it's a milestone that I also like to see and compare to with Apple. When Apple, you know Apple, the largest company in the world, the most valuable company in the world, when that had an IPO in 1980 or something like that, basically initial public offering, basically releasing on the stock market for public investors, that launched at a public trading market cap of 1 billion. 1 billion. And that was 1980, okay? So 1980, you didn't have the internet and all that stuff. You didn't have social media. 1980, I don't know, maybe you did have the internet. Yeah, you must have had the internet. When was the internet created? 1983, okay. Foundations in 1969. When was Apple IPO? 1980. Okay, so yeah, the internet was out. Well, in a certain way, but it wasn't really considered birthday until 1983. Anyways, okay, the internet and social media, etc., wasn't really there. Okay, for ease of access to such an asset like Apple. Now we have crypto and all the ways to acquire it, all the knowledge to find out about it. And yeah, I mean, some countries, yeah, of course they ban crypto, and it's a lot harder to acquire, if not impossible for some people to acquire in their own native country, because you have to buy it through banks. And if the bank doesn't let you, then you have a problem. But then you go to, you try to find other options. Maybe like peer-to-peer. Can you buy through a peer-to-peer exchange? Can you trade some other asset for it? So there's always ways, and governments around the world are really beginning to open up to crypto because it's especially ones that are decentralized. Okay, they're fed up with centralization. They're fed up with the dollar, with the fiat currencies, because it's centralized. And why is centralization a problem? It's a risk. It's a huge risk. Even USDT and USDC can freeze your funds. All right, so buy something that's decentralized, and even checking out Nacho the hecking cat, man. All right, this is decentralized leverage. You don't have your centralized exchange that can just, suddenly one day not allow you to withdraw, or or suddenly just go down and you can't even do anything with your money because they own it. Decentralized exchange. You're trying to leverage Casper with a 5x long, or even try to short it or whatever. It's you're gonna have funding fees, you're gonna have liquidations, you're gonna have the risk of using the centralized exchange itself. Traders use the leading meme coin as leverage. Okay, it's a derivative. That's how it works. I don't have to try to convince you. I'm letting you know as early insight in how crypto operates. That's why Dogecoin is up there. Oh, it has its own blockchain. The blockchain is honestly trash. Blockchain, the L1 of Dogecoin, it's a meme. It's a joke. It's not efficient. Yeah, even though it's proof of work. And then you have leading meme coin on what? Ethereum is Shiba Inu, and you have a lot of others, other ones that are popular. Pepe, leading meme coin on Solana, Bonk. It doesn't have to, it's not complicated. It's really not. It doesn't have to be some crazy thing. Nacho, it's it's a cat. Okay, the cat. You have this dog, and now you got a cat. It's the pet of Kaspa. It's a nod to Ghost Dag. I've explained it a lot. It has its community, Nacho Nation. It's got even the IRL in real life, the venue, Kaspa Experience. It has the foundation, Kaspa Alliance for Transparency, otherwise known as CAT. That's where it builds a lot of its utility, protocols, etc., including CapBridge, Codex, and a lot of its partners, including deep partners, including ZealSwap, and now even it's having a deep partnership and integration with Igra Labs, and you see that as well with Ashton, one of the founders and creators of Nacho the Cat. He's now taking a role, some sort of part-time role with Igra Labs and being helping with them, some sort of marketing. So he's being able to have that close relationship and get Nacho in the places where it needs to be. So Igra Labs, that's going to be a great way to incentivize activity on Kaspa, bring in some development, bring in some applications, and that's fantastic. So you got Nacho the Cat, use it as you wish. It's here to stay long term. That's what matters most. All right, I'll be breaking down a video on running a Kaspa node, even running Kaspa node with the latest updated node version, which honestly runs a lot more efficiently, and it's a lot easier, on your computer or laptop or whatever. I noticed it as well, so I'll make a video on that and take a look at it if you, especially if you haven't already run a Kaspa node, if you're not currently running a Kaspa node, and if you want to upgrade your current Kaspa node, okay, because it's not using Kaspa NG. It's going to be using command line, but it's so easy. I'll show you how to do it. And yeah, so until then, guys, keep hodling. And I'm so hecking excited. You guys should be too, because here we are. Casper is the best asset in the whole hacking world. And it's also not only the best, most optimized technology that currently exists, and that is proven, all right? Proven on paper. And that's all the public releases in open source formats going to be coming into and releasing for everyone to use. Anyone, institutions, DeFi applications, banks, everyone. Okay, so not only is that coming around, but you have the best and now also the most undervalued. All right, this is extremely undervalued. The fact that we're still within this really highlighted green zone, it's ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we're going to have that pump back upward. And once we hit at 5 cents, you're going to see a lot more FOMO piling back in, people fearing out and missing out. Because when you see that, when it breaks that 5 cents, you saw what happened before. And a lot of people are going to be coming on board, especially when that happens, without a doubt. So stay bullish right now. And don't be worried so much about catching a dip. I mean, I'm not trying to say a dip won't happen, but I'm not, I'm not trading any little dip. Heck nah, man. Especially two little tiny candles like this, and looking at where we're at right now and looking at what has happened when the price breaks upward. It's not going to be two little candlesticks. Heck nah, it's going to be some massive ones. And if anything, worst case scenario, it's all right, we'll see double the price perhaps in the next 2 months. I think it's very reasonable. If not, hey, keep hodling, and we have a bright future ahead, especially in the next year. So, all right, guys, peace out.